Now that's good history.
James Buchanan was known as not a drunk, but a very good drinker. And he said when his liquor was distributed and it was shipped in these pints, he said this was not big enough.
Why didn't they come in barrels? That's what
I'm telling you, dude, I drink with this man.
Me too. Bring on the barrels,
man. Hey. Welcome back to Toast to History. It's good to see you all again. Today we toast James Buchanan, the 15th President of the United States. Now I know what you're all thinking, because you know what? I thought it too. He is a very controversial president. And his entire presidency can be summed around one word.
Slavery.
But you know what? When he was president of the United States, he came out with his policies. We're not going to agree on slavery, so we're not going to talk about it. So today, it's his birthday. We're going to celebrate the James Buchanan way because it's his birthday. We're not going to talk about it. I'm not going to bring it up. Yes, it's controversial, and if you want to talk about it around yourselves, go ahead. We're going to give you the good things about James Buchanan today. Today, I'm going to tell you the things you didn't know about James Buchanan. James Buchanan was the 15th President of the United States. He was the United States Minister to the United Kingdom. He was the United States Secretary of State. He was a United States Senator from Pennsylvania. He was a United States Minister to Russia. He was U.S. House of Representatives from Pennsylvania. During his House of Representatives stay, he was chairman of the House Judiciary Committee. He was a member of the Pennsylvania House of Representatives. And his military service, he was a private in the Pennsylvania militia for 1 year. James Buchanan was a lifelong Pennsylvanian. So, War of 1812 breaks out. Baltimore is in trouble. We all know. The British are coming to attack Baltimore after the burning of Washington, D.C. He leaves his lawyer practice and he joins up with the military to help defend Baltimore. Now, he doesn't see a lot of combat, but he serves. But he's not a soldier. He's a private. So basically, he's a volunteer. When the British leave, he leaves. I'm not a soldier. There was a trouble in front of us. The trouble's gone. I'm going back home. I'm going back to being a lawyer. That's what he did. But he still fought for the War of 1812. He came out. Country need me? Yay! Oh, you don't need me anymore. I'm kind of one over here. He was a big fan of Andrew Jackson when he got into politics. Not to overshadow you. I know it's your birthday, man, but I'm trying to make this kind of a thing here. Shameless plug. Andrew Jackson was very controversial. And there's something called the corrupt bargain, which you'll learn about. This guy takes Jackson's side. And when Jackson loses because of this, he still is a supporter of Jackson. But that's messed up. That was wrong. So 4 years later, when Jackson wins, Jackson remembers him. Jackson remembers his support. So when he's president, he needs key diplomats in certain other countries. So he hires him. He sends him to be a diplomat across the water. He was very good at it. He knew how to work the circles. Now, he was actually in Britain when James K. Polk got Oregon and Washington from the British. He helped negotiate the treaty. Now, there was the Ostend Manifesto, which never came to fruition, but he was trying to talk with Spain on acquiring Cuba for the United States. So, hey, this man knew his politics. It just happened to be European politics. Now, James Buchanan, as a goal of his, always wanted to be president. But he's always overseas. There was never that opportunity for him to be president. Now, 1856, this opportunity comes. And why? Let's give you the short, quick version. Zachary Taylor dies. Millard Fillmore's vice president comes in. He fires all his cabinet members, puts his own in. And the party, gritting their teeth, deals with it. 4 years later, they're like, Fillmore, you're not our guy, and they boost him out of the party. Now, Fillmore thinks, I did a pretty good job. I think I should be president again. Finds another party to run him. So, of course, the Whigs take their candidate, and they run their candidate. So we have the former president, which we know is controversial, this guy, who the hell knows, and we have this guy, well, you know what? We don't know anything bad about him. He did sign some territories for us as a diplomat. His big thing is diplomacy. The Civil War is coming. It's kind of a big deal that we need a diplomat, don't you think? With 46% of the vote, James Buchanan, because Fillmore splits the party, becomes president of the United States. What he is known for as president is he stays up all night and he's very meticulous in making sure if he writes a document, everything's right. Everything's how he wanted it. Every comma's in the right spot. If there's a comma in the wrong spot, it's because he wanted it to be in the wrong spot. Because that's how meticulous he was. He wanted to make sure it was perfect, so if someone read it, they knew what he was going to mean. If he wrote a speech, he wanted to make sure it was perfect how he said it. If a bill came across his desk, he read it, making sure that that's what he wanted, or if he didn't like it, that's why I'm leaving it, because I read it and I didn't like it. He brought 3 states into the Union. We have Minnesota, Oregon, which I told you he negotiated to get that territory. He actually puts them in a state. Full circle, he brings Oregon into the Union. Are you a fan of Beavers, man? Because Oregon loved their Beavers. As well as Kansas, which actually, that one would be a thorn in his side later, but we're not going over that, remember. Some facts that you did not read about in your history book about James Buchanan. He was a bachelor president. He's known as the bachelor president. Every president except for him had a wife at one time. Now, we had Jefferson, and we had a couple other presidents that did not have a wife in the White House, but they still were married at one time. He never was. He's our only bachelor president, and that was the answer to the Jared challenge. Now, James Buchanan had a genetic defect. Every picture you see him, he cocks his head for the picture. He had bad eyesight in one of his eyes. So every time he had a picture or every time he was talking to you, he would cock his head to give his better eye more of a visual. This man could drink anybody under the table. This man was a drinker, but he wasn't a drunk because nobody could outdrink him. Nobody could last that long. Dignitaries, guests of his, reporters would try to compete with this man, and they would be falling out before the night is through. He had an advanced wine cellar. He used to bring in champagne bottles that were in pints, which is about the size of my glass. And he complained to the shippers that it was too small for his guests because he wanted to drink more. I'd try and give you a go. You need a toast for that, man. I don't know if I can beat you, but I'd give you the old college try. Now, he's a bachelor president, but he has a niece he's very close to. And she starts helping him pick out the plates for the White House. She starts helping him decorate for parties. She comes and helps him host parties. So now it's like, all right, she's heavily involved. We can't call her his wife. She's not his wife. What do we call her? So they give her the term the First Lady. And this is where we get it from. We didn't have a First Lady before Buchanan. You're the president's wife. And that was it. But now, from here on forth, even to this day, we call Joe Biden's wife the First lady, because that's the woman who's married to the president. We get it from this guy. Harriet Lane was our first lady. Thank you, James. Without going into anything controversial, because I said I was not going to talk on that. 4 years later after Buchanan, he hated the presidency. He believed it was a living hell. And the office that he most sought. And it was miserable for him. So, the very day Abraham Lincoln wins the election, South Carolina secedes. So war is inevitable. And he's leaving the White House, Lincoln's coming in. It's the passing of the torch. Lincoln and Buchanan shake hands. And Buchanan says, "If you are as happy, my dear sir, on entering this house as I am leaving it and return home, you are the happiest man in the country." And he doesn't get any politics after this. He writes a few papers, he writes some memoirs, that's it. This man was a key diplomat, a great foreign dignitary. 4 years he couldn't do it. And just the same as you say to yourself, I don't care what people think of me, but you care what your family thinks of you. He cared a lot of what his country thought about him, and he did not like what they saw. I know you talk with dignitaries, monarchs, highly sought lobbyists. I'm sorry that it was the American people that broke you. A toast to James Buchanan. I feel this man can be summed up in one of his last words he ever spoke to the American people. Whatever the result may be, I shall carry to my grave the consciousness that at least I meant well for my country. O Lord God Almighty, as thou wilt. Sometimes we mean well, and it does not go how we mean. This man dominated the world stage with his diplomacy. He came home and was not as thought after. We voted him in. We put him there. And we put him during one of the worst times to be there. Would I have done better? I don't know. Today's your day, buddy. And we toast you. Happy birthday, Mr. President. Now that's good history. Wait a minute, don't go. I know you all click off during the credits. I do it in movies all the time, I know. But don't do it from now on. Because you'll miss the Jared Challenge question. Don't you want to get toasted? As well as my honoree? I'd like to get toasted. So, my next episode will cover a man from Ohio, O-H-I-O. This man was the only Ohio president who survived 2 terms. All the way through. If you know who he is, put it in the comment below. And not only will I toast my honoree, I will toast you on the show. Beat the Jared Challenge. Bring it! Let's see who knows their history.